Hello, everyone. Today's topic is frugal habits versus investing. Which builds wealth faster? Although the discussion is based on an American perspective, the core ideas are relevant to people everywhere, regardless of where you live. So, let's dive in.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. You know that feeling when you're trying to level up your finances, like you want to build a solid foundation for the future? But figuring out where to even start, it's like this constant debate in your head: save every penny or put it all into investments. Like, which one's really going to unlock the door to financial freedom?
Yeah, for sure. I think everyone's wrestled with that. I mean, you hear all sorts of advice, right? Frugal living, investing, side hustles. It's like information overload sometimes.
It totally is. So today, we're diving deep into the frugality versus investing showdown. We're going to unpack both these concepts. We'll look at what the research actually says, crunch some numbers, and hopefully by the end, you'll have a clearer picture of which path, or maybe a cool combo of both, is your best shot at reaching your money goals.
Sounds good. Let's start with frugality. Now, when you say frugality, some people immediately picture like the most extreme version, right? Clipping every coupon, never eating out, living a super restricted life. But it doesn't have to be that way, right?
Definitely not. It's more about being intentional with your spending, making conscious choices about where your money goes, and actively saving what you don't spend. So it's not about deprivation, it's about being smart with your money.
Exactly. And this plays out in so many everyday decisions. Think about it. Brewing your coffee at home instead of that daily latte run, looking for deals and discounts instead of always going for convenience, maybe considering pre-owned items or exploring free activities instead of always paying for entertainment. These small, consistent choices are where frugal habits really start to make a difference.
And the cool thing about frugality is you see the results right away. Every dollar you decide not to spend is a dollar you keep. It's right there in your account. And that adds up faster than you might think. One of the studies we looked at pointed this out. Saving just $5 a day, that's over $1,800 a year. It really makes you think twice about those small expenses that we often just brush off.
You know, what I find really interesting is how being frugal not only saves you money, but it also kind of shapes your mindset and helps you develop valuable skills. It teaches you patience, to pause before making a purchase and consider if you really need it. It sparks creativity as you look for resourceful alternatives. And maybe most importantly, it helps you break free from that constant pressure to buy, all that consumerism we're bombarded with every day. It's like you're taking back control of your relationship with money.
Absolutely. So we've talked about holding on to your money through being frugal. But now let's switch gears and talk about putting that money to work through investing. It's like taking those dollars you've carefully saved and putting them in a position to potentially multiply over time. It's a different game than just keeping your cash tucked away. The goal here is growth, turning your money into more money.
Right. With frugality, you're protecting what you have. But investing is about building on that foundation, growing your wealth over the long haul. And it's all about this amazing concept of compound returns. Basically, it's the idea that your earnings can generate their own earnings, creating a snowball effect. This growth can come from things like interest on bonds, dividends from stocks, or the appreciation of assets like real estate. And let's not forget retirement accounts like 401ks and IRAs, which have tax advantages specifically designed for long-term investing.
It's like planting a seed that grows into a tree. That tree then makes more seeds, those seeds grow into more trees, and so on. The growth just keeps building on itself. Like, one source showed that if you invest $10,000 and get an average annual return of 7%, in 10 years, you'd almost double your money to around $20,000 without even adding anything more. And the longer you let it ride, the more powerful that effect becomes. It really highlights the importance of starting early and letting time do its thing.
Of course, gotta be real here. Investing comes with its own set of risks. No guarantees, the market can be unpredictable. But history shows that for those who are in it for the long game and can handle the ups and downs, investing has generally outperformed inflation, meaning you're actually growing your purchasing power.
So let's get down to brass tacks. Let's look at some numbers. Imagine saving $5,000 every year. Now, picture putting it in a low-yield savings account, say 0.5% interest. After 20 years, you'd have about $103,000. Not bad, right? Definitely a result of consistent saving.
But now let's say you take that same $5,000 a year, but instead of that low-yield account, you invest it, let's say, in something averaging a 7% return. After those 20 years, you're looking at around $219,000, more than double what you'd have just saving. That's the power of investing.
And if we stretch it out even further, say to 30 years, those savings at 0.5% would be around $158,000. But invested at 7%, you'd be looking at around $505,000. That's a pretty stark difference.
It really is. And it clearly shows that for long-term wealth building, investing has the edge. But like we said, frugality has that immediate impact. You see the savings right away. It gives you a sense of control and helps you reach short-term goals or build up that initial capital you need to start investing in the first place.
It's like the foundation for everything else. If you're spending everything you earn, there's nothing left to invest. It's like frugality builds the runway and investing is the plane taking off.
Exactly. They're not competing, they work together. And one of the sources had this really cool example. You cut back $200 a month by making some frugal choices. Then you take that $200 and invest it every month, let's say at 7%. Over 20 years, you could have around $120,000. That's the power of combining those two approaches.
It creates this awesome cycle, right? The more you save, the more you can invest. And seeing those investments grow can motivate you to save even more. Plus, being frugal helps you resist that urge to spend more as you earn more. Lifestyle creep. It keeps more money in your pocket for your financial goals.
So where do you start with all this? Well, the sources we looked at emphasize tracking your spending. Spend a month writing down every expense. It'll show you where your money's actually going. And you'll see areas where you can cut back without really affecting your lifestyle. Focus on those recurring expenses. Those can really add up over time.
Once you know where your money is going, the next step is to create a budget. This isn't about restricting yourself, it's about making a plan. Decide how much goes to needs, how much to wants, and make sure a portion is set aside for investing. Regular investing should be a non-negotiable part of your financial routine.
For investing, especially if you're just starting out, low-cost index funds are often recommended. They give you diversification, meaning you're spreading your money across lots of different companies or bonds. Plus, they tend to have good long-term returns. And if you have a 401k at work, especially if your employer matches contributions, make sure you're taking full advantage of that. It's free money, essentially. And don't forget about IRAs. Those tax advantages can really help you grow your money faster.
And remember, the most important thing is to just start. You don't need a ton of money to get going. Even if it's just $50 a month, the habit of regular saving and investing is what really matters.
Now, we've got to be honest. The perfect balance between frugality and investing is different for everyone. It depends on your situation, your goals, your timeline. For example, if you have high interest debt, paying that down first is usually the smartest move. The interest you're paying might be eating up any potential gains from investing.
And your age plays a part too. Younger people generally have more time to recover from market dips, so they might go for investments that have a chance of growing faster, even if they're a bit riskier. But if you're nearing retirement, you might prioritize protecting your savings and choose more conservative investments.
But no matter what your situation is, the key takeaway is consistency. You don't need to be perfect. Splurging once in a while won't ruin everything. It's the day-to-day decisions that really make a difference in the long run.
There's this really interesting case study in one of the articles we read. It was about this guy named Tim, a graphic designer. He made decent money, but always felt broke. He'd even dip into savings just to cover bills. I think a lot of people can relate to that feeling.
Yeah, totally. But Tim realized he needed to change something, so he started tracking his spending. And it turned out he was spending over $300 a month on takeout and another $200 on subscriptions he barely used. It was those small recurring costs that were really holding him back.
So he made some changes. He started meal prepping and cut his food bill in half right away. He canceled those unused subscriptions and saved another $150 a month. And then he got a roommate, which knocked $400 off his rent. Just like that, he had an extra $800 a month without really feeling like he was sacrificing much.
And the big turning point was what he did with that extra money. He didn't just leave it sitting around. He set up automatic transfers to his investment accounts. He made sure he was getting his full employer match in his 401k, and then he opened a Roth IRA and a brokerage account.
And after 5 years, even with some market ups and downs, his investments had grown to over $60,000. Think about that. While others with similar incomes were still struggling, Tim was building real financial security just by combining smart saving with consistent investing.
It's such a powerful example, right? It shows that frugality and investing aren't two separate things. They work best together. Frugality gives you the money and the right mindset, and investing is the vehicle that drives your wealth towards long-term financial freedom.
And, when you think about it, everyone's journey is different. There's no one-size-fits-all answer. The key is to start where you are with what you have. Even if it's just cutting back on a few things and investing a small amount every month, building those habits, making that commitment to your future, that's what really sets you on the right path.
As your income grows and you learn more, you can always fine-tune your strategy. The important thing is to keep learning, keep growing, and keep moving forward on your financial journey.
So to wrap things up, we wanted to leave you with something to think about. What's one tiny step you can take today? Maybe it's checking your bank statements to see where you can save, or maybe it's reading about different investment options. These small actions repeated over time can lead to big changes in your financial life. Remember, the power to build a better financial future is in your hands.
You got this.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. Until next time.
If you found this video valuable, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, and set the bell icon to all for notifications. Feel free to leave a respectful comment. Vulgar or inappropriate comments will be blocked. See you in the next video.